Ashleydawn and
Michelle,
my mom. And I want to talk to you today about appearances and why we shouldn't put so much weight, worth, and really time into appearances. It could be our own appearances or it could be the appearances of others. And you may be saying, well, Ashleydawn, you have things in your hair and you have earrings on and you're wearing a dress, and then you're telling us not to worry about appearances? No. I'm not telling you to look a mess when you go out in public. I'm just saying that your appearance does not matter more than you do. Your appearance, it should not be it's not where you get your worth from. It's not where you get your identity from. There should be more to you than the way you look.
exactly.
So I just want to talk, my Gettin Real Chats, or honestly just me having conversations with my friends. My mom is my very best friend in the whole wide world, and we talk all the time, and so I thought it would be fun just to videotape it. So, Mom, as a Christian woman, a woman who loves Jesus deeply, tell me some stories about maybe how you've been judged in the past, maybe what people have said, maybe why.
Well, going to Walmart one day, or was it Circle? It was Circle K one day. A gentleman, an older man, came up and said, "Why do you have those?" And those meant my tattoos. And I said, because they have meaning and I wanted them, so I got them. And he says, well, ma'am, I don't know if you read your Bible or not, but you're not supposed to have any tattoos on your body. And I proceeded to let him know that my body doesn't go to heaven, my soul does. That was one incident. Another one was when I was at Walmart, and I was...
All your instances are at Walmart. Your other one was too.
No, that was Circle K.
You just said it was Walmart.
No, that one was Circle K. The elderly man was
You
at
said Walmart.
No, I corrected myself. That was Circle K. The one at Walmart...
This is not sponsored by Walmart.
The first one was Circle K.
Okay. It's not sponsored by Circle K either.
No. So, anyway, just the looks that I got from people seeing my tattoos was very...
What about, churches that you've gone to churches?
Yes, I've gone to a few churches. Well, I've gone to quite a few churches.
Do you feel comfortable?
At a few of them I have, yes, and at some not at all.
And why do you not feel comfortable at certain churches?
Well, because when I was walking in the entranceway, they kind of turned their heads the other way, or didn't acknowledge that I was there at their church. So I just kind of figured this is not a place for me, because my tattoos don't make me who I am.
Amen.
You know, my earrings don't make me who I am. The heart that I have inside here makes me who I am.
Yeah.
The actions that I do speak for what I do.
Right.
You know?
So what about, I speak a lot and you always come with me to hear me speak. How have you been treated sometimes? Maybe I've gone to a big church and they've, had me come speak at a conference or had me come speak somewhere. How has it made you feel at some of them? Not all of them, because some have treated you really awesome. But what about the ones that, can you explain
they
how...
treated me unfairly, kind of, because of my tattoos.
Right, but then you see them treating me...
a different way.
Right.
Yes. It's
talk
for
about
one, you wear dresses and stuff, and you wear makeup, and you wear high heels. Okay, I come in a pair of work boots, a tank top. My hair is always the same. It never changes unless it's up in a pony. The rest of the time, it's just, this is it. This is my hair. But with you, you're beautiful. They just they tell you how pretty you are and everything else. And when I kind of walk in, it's not as much that they say. It's like they don't hardly say anything.
Right.
Like, oh, you look pretty or you look nice. I don't get any of that.
How does it make you feel?
Like not have their opinions or their so-called, what's the word I want to use? Not their opinion, but their say-so. They got to say so about, well, you shouldn't have worn that, or you should have covered up your tattoos. I do not have to cover up my tattoos.
They have their own idea of who they want you to be.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And I don't need that. Like, I get people, well, why you get tattoos? You know, tattoos are bad. Really? Have you read in the Bible, anywhere in the Bible where it talks about tattoos? I have. And there's a place where Jesus was tattooed on his thigh.
Book of Revelation.
Book of Revelation. And he was tattooed on his thigh with Lord of Lords, King of Kings. Now, no one says anything about Jesus having a tattoo, but when they look at me or anyone else that has a tattoo, we are...
Well, and, you know, my daddy, for those of you who don't know, was a tattoo artist, an amazing artist. He, one of my favorite things that he did a lot of cover-ups. And so he would work with people that used to be in gangs. Maybe they used to have their ex-wife's name on them, and they wanted a new beginning. They wanted to get away from their past. And so my dad would take their, you know, tattoo that maybe had a bad symbol on it. Maybe it was a gang sign. Maybe it was something from their past, and he would remake it and make it into something beautiful. And I always loved that he did that, and he'd minister and he'd talk, and, you know, he'd share his testimony, and he'd encourage people, like, your past does not define who you are. It doesn't define your future. And so for me, you know, I've grown up in the tattoo world since I was a little girl. I started doing tattoos at age 9. And I've also grown up in the church world. I started preaching when I was a little girl. And I've spoke all over the country, and I've done things in different countries, speaking and podcasts and stuff like that. But so I've grown up on both sides of it, and I understand both sides of it. And so for me, I really struggle because I have personally watched people ask Daddy about his tattoos, and him use those tattoos to encourage others. Him use those tattoos, like the ones that were on his biceps that said Jesus saves, you know, and he talked about how many times he was pronounced dead or almost died, and Jesus did save him. And he talked about, you know, Jesus' arms being stretched out on the cross, and that when he stretches his arms out, it says Jesus saves, because that's how Jesus saved him. And, you know, I see the beautiful side of that. Now, I understand, you know, a lot of tattoos happen in prison. I understand a lot of tattoos, you know, are gang symbols, or I get that. I understand that, you know, back in Hitler, you know, would tattoo the numbers on the Jewish people. I understand there are good and there are bad in tattoos, but I don't want to, you know, this isn't all about tattoos. Tattoos are just something people, you know, put on their skin. Sometimes they take them off of their skin. Piercings are just holes that they put in their skin. Sometimes they put an earring in it, sometimes they don't. But I want to talk to you about identity, because I think the church, and I think just overall people, really miss the forest for the trees. Right. You know, they want to look at it. Oh, look at that pine tree. Oh, that pine tree is hideous. Yeah. But there's this beautiful forest, and there's these beautiful mountains, but they're so focused on that one pine tree that they don't like. Yeah. Right? How many people have just focused on your tattoos, or focused on, you know, and not the real some detail. Oh, she wears construction boots. Oh, she doesn't wear dresses. Oh, she doesn't wear makeup. And they've missed the most beautiful thing about you. I did another video about, you know, inner beauty and why I have my ministry, why it's so important to me that people look beyond appearances or lack of appearances, and they really get to know the person. And, you know, obviously that reason is because of you, but I've watched people, like you said, you've, you know, been a part of people maybe walking away from having a conversation with you, or maybe walking away from talking to you in a church setting. They're missing the most beautiful part about you because they prejudged you based on what you were wearing, and, you know, your tattoos, whatever, your skin color. You know, I know some people have done that too. And so I just want to talk about identity and how it feels when somebody prejudges you without knowing who you are. Right. So you want to talk about that?
Sure. Where do you want me to begin?
Well, just how how it makes you feel as a person when somebody judges you and doesn't give you the time to...
Well, to learn me and know who I am.
Or they have something they say about you, but they really don't know you.
Well, they have the right to their opinion, and like when they say something that I do not care for, because they don't know me.
Right.
I sometimes I let it go, and I'll say, oh, you know, they just don't know me.
Mm-hmm.
But then
like,
there's
Father, forgive them, they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, you know, and I'll say a prayer for them, you know, because they need prayer.
We all need prayer.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that they need a prayer, because I don't say something about that guy over there just because what his tattoos are or whatever.
Right.
I'll ask people, you know, one of the things for me is, why don't you ask a person, instead of stare them up and
or
down. Or
like judge them without knowing.
You know, like they give you the cross look, you know, you know.
Yeah.
They don't know you.
Mm-hmm.
So I would rather have somebody come up to me and say, hey, I see you have tattoos. You know, I see you have tattoos. You know, do they have a meaning? Is there a story behind them? Mm-hmm. Why'd you get them? You know? Mm-hmm. Like your dad didn't want to put any on me.
I know, I remember.
And I got them.
Yeah. And it wasn't that he didn't want to put any on you. He just wanted to be very...
Well, no, he really didn't want to put any on me. But because he knew how much I wanted them,
right,
he did it to make me happy.
Yeah. I think a lot of it, though, is so many people, right? A lot of times for me, and I can't speak about anybody else. I'm a professional in my life. I'm not a professional in anybody else's life. But a lot of times I feel like the way that you grow up, the things that you go through, it forms your worldview. Okay?
Right.
And then you want your worldview, how you think, how you act, how you feel, to then, like, I'm going to take it off and I'm going to put it on you. So let me take this headband off. Let me put it on you. Let me take my earrings off. Let me put them on you.
Me.
Let me take my dress off and put it on you. It doesn't fit you because it's not for you.
Right. And it's not me.
Right. But I feel like so much, especially like nowadays, especially with, you know, social media, whatever, everyone wants to take their own ideas and their own whatever and put it on somebody else.
Right.
And first of all, I don't think it's fair. I think it's rude. I think it's selfish. I think it's ignorant.
Right.
And I think that people are really missing out on incredible friendships and incredible relationships with people because they're so focused on making them into who they are.
Right.
You know, how many girls start dating a guy and then try to change him into who she wants him to be? Just let him be him.
Yep.
If Jesus, okay, is so patient with us. Jesus doesn't force us to do anything we don't want to do. He's patient. He's there and he's ready and he's willing, but he doesn't force himself on us. It says, behold, I stand at the door and knock. He's not busting through the door like the Kool-Aid man. Hey. Oh yeah, that's what the Kool-Aid man. Oh yeah. He's knocking and he's saying, will you open it? Will you open your life to me? Will you open your heart to me? Will you open the door to me? He's not forcing his way into your life, your house, your thoughts. He's not. He's a gentleman. And so if Jesus, who is our, example as believers, and most of my videos are for believers, if Jesus doesn't do that with us, why are we doing it with others? Why are we putting our ideas and our, emotions, why are we putting that on other people? They didn't ask for it. It's just like when you give your opinion to somebody that didn't ask for it.
Right.
And it's like, well, that was kind of rude and selfish.
Why did you say that?
You think your opinion is so much better than mine that you're just going to tell me what it is? I didn't ask.
Right.
It's like you're eating at dinner and someone says, well, that's disgusting. And you say, I didn't ask you.
Right.
Like, you're eating something else. You don't have to eat what I'm eating.
Well, and that's what I meant with my tattoos.
Right.
Like, Jesus got a tattoo.
Yeah.
But no one's saying anything about Jesus having the tattoo and that it was wrong and this and that and the other. But when they see me or my friends, like Missy, other friends with tattoos, oh.
I think a lot of it is judgment, right? It's just like people with vitiligo. With the spots, it's like it's a skin condition.
Right.
People judge them, and it's like, first of all, I was born like this, or somebody with like a birthmark, like people with birthmarks on their face or somewhere visible, they get judged all the time. or somebody that maybe has,
scars from burns.
Yeah, something. And it's like, whoa, my identity, the way that I look is a tic-tac of who I am. I am so much more than my face. I am so much more than my hair. I am so much more than my clothing or my earrings. Like, I am a human being with a soul.
Well,
But a lot of times it's, oh, well, I don't really like that shirt. Well, I don't really like your hair. And it's like,
yeah.
Who asked you? No, nobody asked you. Keep your opinion to yourself.
Right.
If you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. You don't have to wear this hairstyle.
Or having periodontal disease.
Mm-hmm.
That's hard.
Mm-hmm.
People, well, what's wrong with you? You must have done drugs. You've done something.
What's wrong with your teeth?
Yeah. Well, I have periodontal disease.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's wrong with mine. But you know what? I'd rather you ask me
But
about
then judge,
than instead of you judging me or thinking it all on your own, thinking, yeah, she's been doing drugs. Look, she's skinny. She's this. She's that. You know what?
And that,
you don't know my story.
That's a big thing too. Like, I've been judged because I'm, thinner.
Yeah.
And I've watched people judge you, and it's like, whoa.
Right.
Just because you're not thin does not mean that every thin person in the world does drugs. It doesn't mean that every thin person in the world needs to eat a cheeseburger. Fun little story that's not so fun. I used to work with this woman, and I've since forgiven her. If you're that woman and you're watching this, I've already forgiven you, so don't worry about it. But she was one of the meanest people I've ever worked with in my life, and she was very passive aggressive, and she was a bully, and she was insecure, and she would put me down on a daily basis. And every day that I would come into work, she would tell me that I was skinny, that I was a twig, that I was a pencil, that I was gonna fall apart. She'd tell me I need to gain weight. She'd tell me I needed a cheeseburger. Anytime I'd be eating, she would make fun of whatever I was eating. And she would always put me down. You need to have a butt. You need to have hips. You need to have this. You need to have this.
Isn't that something?
I do have a butt. I do have hips, and I do eat. The problem is you're struggling with your weight, and you're putting that struggle because you're secretly jealous of someone else's body. And you, instead of just congratulating them and being like, girl, you work out, you look good, you got a nice body, awesome, you want to pick them apart to make them feel bad about themselves because you feel bad about yourself. That's unacceptable. It's unacceptable as a woman, it's unacceptable as a human, and it's unacceptable as somebody who claims the name of Christ. It's unacceptable. Like I said, I've forgiven her, but it was not fun to work with her. And I extended love, and I tried to be as loving as I could, but her insecurities were poisoning the entire work environment. And that's another thing. A lot of times, the people that are picking at other people are insecure, and instead of dealing with their insecurities and getting healed and being healthy,
they put it on someone else.
They deflect it on someone else, and they want to rip someone else apart so they'll feel better about themselves, because secretly they're miserable. Well, it's not really secret, but they're miserable.
Right.
And so they're like, well, if I just put this person down, I'll feel better about myself. No, honey, you won't. Because that person you're putting down was made in the image of God, okay? And when you put that person down, you're putting God down. And that's a whole nother topic, but I'll go there. When you put someone down, you're literally putting God down, because God created that person. If I told you your children are ugly, how would that make you feel? You'd be mad.
Yeah.
Well, you're telling God that his children are ugly. And it's even worse because God picked out that hair color. God picked out
your body.
Yeah, every single detail about your child. You didn't. You just had them. Or maybe you adopted them, but you didn't pick it out. But it's the same thing. When you put someone else down, you are literally telling God his creation is trash. His creation isn't good. So you better watch it. You're going to have to give an account for that.
Well,
our identity should never be in what tattoos we have, what piercings we have, if we have teeth, if we don't have teeth, if we're skinny, if we're not skinny, if we have big boobs, if we have small boobs, if we have a big butt, if we have small butt, if we have some kind of, one of my really good friends, a little girl that I used to mentor that is not a little girl anymore, she was born without legs. Beautiful girl. She's going to be in the Olympics. Incredible warrior. Do you know how much she's got made fun of? She's got bullied. And I'll even go as far to say there was a conference. I wasn't speaking at it. I just went to it. And one of the leaders from the conference came over to her, put her hand on her, and said, I'm going to pray that God grows you some legs. Whoa! I'm all about crazy faith. I'm all about believing God for miracles. But there's nothing wrong with my friend. There was nothing wrong the day that God created her.
Nope.
She doesn't have legs because God's purpose for her doesn't include legs. Because what she can do without those legs is more than what she could have done with them. We look at things and we have our little opinion and we think we know more than God. Oh, she doesn't have legs, something like, no. God's got a mighty purpose for her that legs would interfere with.
You know, a lot of times I think that people want an explanation.
Yeah.
When you don't owe them an explanation.
No.
But if they would just ask you.
Yeah.
You know, instead of, like I said, instead of stare you down.
And that's what she feels. People will give her dirty looks, or they'll be like looking for her legs. And she's like, hi, yeah, I'm not an animal in a zoo.
Right. Like you're looking for something, or you're looking at something, and you haven't even asked.
Yeah.
You know, you just stare down, or I don't want to say nothing because that person's different, but just stare at them. They don't want you staring. Hey, why don't you come up to me and treat me like a person?
Yeah, it hurts people's feelings.
You know, hey, my name is Michelle. What's yours? You know, instead of just staring and not saying nothing.
I really love in the book of Samuel, it talks about Samuel coming over to Jesse's house to anoint the new king, the next king. And Samuel goes to Jesse and he says, you know, how many sons do you have? Bring them all out. And so Jesse brings all of his sons out, and, you know, some are really muscular and they're really tall and they're really, you know, they got great statures. And Samuel looks over all of them and he says, they're not here. He says, do you have any other sons? And Jesse says, yeah, well, I got a son in the field. He's taking care of the sheep. And Samuel says, well, bring him. I want to see him. And the Bible says in Samuel that, I think it's Samuel 16, that when Samuel saw David, he said, you know, this is the new king, and he went to anoint him. And the brothers and the dad, like Jesse, David's own dad, was like, what? Why? They had judged David based on his appearance because he was, you know, a younger child. He was a younger boy. He was probably short. He probably wasn't that tall. He, you know, might not have been that muscular. And it says, you know, you look at appearance, but God looks at the heart.
Amen.
And that's, you know, one of my scriptures for inner beauty is like, we spend so much time looking at people. Oh, she's beautiful. Oh, he's handsome. Oh, she's hot. Oh, he's hot. Oh, whatever, which I even hate when people say, oh, you're hot. And I'm like, ugh, I don't want to be hot. I want to be a beautiful woman of God that has a heart and a soul that is more beautiful than her face could ever be.
Right.
And, you know, a lot of people say, well, Ashleydawn, why are you single? And why have you been single so long? And I'm like, because I have yet to find or to meet a man of God that cares more about the way a woman looks on the inside and her heart and her soul and her spirit than she does on the outside, than what her face looks like. Because guess what, honey? Faces change. Faces change a lot. Bodies change a lot.
Yeah, my metabolism is a high metabolism.
Yeah.
Like I eat, but my metabolism burns it off. So for people out there that don't know, now I'm not skinny by choice.
Well, you work out a lot too, and you're always doing stuff.
Yeah, I'm working out in 100-degree heat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but
they don't take the time to know because it's just easier to judge. It's easier to, and a lot of the people that are so judgmental, really, this guy is like
all over the road,
literally in and out of the road. Like, Jesus be with him. A lot of people, it's easier to judge. It's easier to say, oh, she's skinny, she must do drugs, instead of saying, oh, you know what, I would like to have a body like hers. And there have been women that have said, like, wow, I wish I had a body like yours. And they're being honest and they're being genuine.
Right.
But it's easier to say, oh, she's skinny, she must do drugs, than to say, you know what, I'd like to have a body like hers. I'm going to sign up for a gym membership. I'm going to go weed eat my yard. I'm going to go cut my grass. I'm going to go pull weeds. I'm going to go do this, physical thing.
I'm going to move furniture.
Something. It's easier to pick on somebody else and to put them down than to say, you know what? I really would like to work out. I really would like to lose some weight. I'm going to go for a run. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. But it's easier to put somebody else down.
Oh,
now,
yeah.
and I'm not saying for everyone, because honestly, for me, it's easier to encourage people because that's the way that I was wired. It's easier for me to bless other people. It's easier for me to say nice things to somebody. It takes a lot for me to be mean to someone. It really does. And most of that is because of the way that I was raised. But a lot of people, most people were not raised like I was. They weren't raised with love. They weren't raised with kindness. They weren't raised knowing what God's love looks like and then showing that to the world around them. And I'm not bragging, but it is what it is. But we do so much damage with our words, right? In Deuteronomy, it says that there is life and death in the tongue. We can either build people up or we can tear them down. And sadly, a lot of people are breaking people down and ripping them apart and just being so mean and so cruel and so hateful and so hurtful.
That's why the world is changing now, because people can't say a kind word. They can't, like, how hard is it just to say, you look great today?
Yeah.
Your hair looks nice. I love that dress you're wearing,
Compliments, but see, we're different. We're different, and I understand that. And I went for a long time wanting everyone to be just like me, wanting everyone to think the way that I thought and to love people. Like, that's one of my biggest struggles when I see people and they're mean to each other. And I'm like, just love each other. Like, it's not that hard. I promise you, it's easier to love people than it is to hate them. I promise you. If you know what God's love looks like, it's easier. So anyway, all that to say, if we would just use our words kindly. If you have a question, ask somebody. I got a scar in the middle of my forehead. You know how many people have asked me, what's that scar for? And I tell them, my head went through a windshield and I had 31 stitches in my face.
Yep.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Yeah, you didn't know it because you didn't ask.
Well, this is the other thing.
Oh, you have a tattoo? Yeah. Why do you have that tattoo? Well, because I got it when I was 15. It's one of my, favorite things. Me and my dad had matching ones. I did his, he did mine, and it was something special that we had between the two of us. And people, oh, wow, I didn't know that. Yeah, well, you got to ask. If you want to know something, don't just stare at somebody, ask them.
Well, and a tattoo is it's like a scar, too. Some people get a tattoo to cover the scar.
Right, yeah. Like if they have open heart surgery.
If you got scars on you, what's the difference between a scar and a tattoo? It's
Ink?
still, well, yeah, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, you have a scar.
Yeah.
You live with that scar.
But the thing is, a tattoo doesn't take away beauty from someone. Like, okay, they got a tattoo of a flower. I'm wearing a dress with flowers on it. What's the difference? It's on my body. It's not my identity.
Right.
We are souls.
Yep.
We are souls. Why, if somebody is in a coma, why do they say, why aren't they eating if they're in a coma? Well, they are. Well, that's a bad example. But all that to say, okay, here's a better example. When somebody dies, why is their body still here, but their soul isn't?
Because their soul goes to heaven.
Right. So, and what happens to a body? It decomposes.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It rots.
Goes back to ashes.
Right. We were made from the ashes, and we end up ashes.
Yeah.
From, the ashes of dust, whatever. I don't know the scripture. But anyway, all that to say, when you look at it and you're like, okay, so if my body doesn't matter and my body doesn't go to heaven, why am I spending so much time focusing on bodies? I don't want to be with a guy that looks at me and he's like, oh, she's got a nice body. Like, huh? you better be interested in something else, because
The heart that you have.
yeah, this body can change. Your body can change.
Yep.
I just think we put so much time and attention into bodies. Like, how many people go to the gym every single day? You know, they gotta be buff, they gotta look the right way, and it's like, have you read your Bible today? Have you spent time with God? Do you know what God says about you? Or are you just worried about the way that you look? Because I promise you, who you are on the inside matters a heck of a lot more than how you look. You could be the most beautiful person in the world, you know, supermodel, whatever, and have the ugliest heart.
Right. Well, that's what I was getting ready to say.
And when you die, people aren't going to be like, oh my gosh, he had the best body. Oh my gosh, she had the best body. They're going to say, he was a jerk. She was mean. Or they're going to say, she was the nicest person I ever met. He was the nicest guy I ever met. Which one do you want? I tell people all the time, listen, you may think whatever you want from me, like you may think whatever you want of me, but my gold is in heaven.
Yep.
Like, okay, you don't think I'm beautiful. That's fine. God does. Okay, you know, I don't have that much money on earth. My money's in heaven.
Yep.
Like, I ain't worried about that. God
made each and every one of us.
He has.
You know, and he made us all different
Yeah.
for a reason.
On purpose, for a purpose.
Yes. And your purpose is different than my purpose.
Mm-hmm.
You know, his plan for you is a whole lot different than my plan.
But if we would just stop putting so much focus on the way people look.
Yeah.
Good night, almighty.
Well, that's why I was asking, because some people, they give you that look.
Yeah. But even clothes. I have watched, and I've done different little studies. I'll be, like right now, I can go into a place, and based on the clothing that I'm wearing, people will give me attention, people will be nice to me, people will be friendly to me, but then...
Let me go in.
Oh, yeah, forget it.
Let me go in and see how friendly they are to me compared to her.
Forget it.
Yep.
Or, you know, me in some sweatpants, in some, you know, shoes with holes in them. It's so crazy. We put so much focus on our...
We did that one time.
Yeah, our appearances.
Kind of reversed ourselves.
Yeah, and not only that, when you're picking out a spouse, you know, that sounds really bad when you're picking out a spouse, but when you are maybe dating someone and you're like, oh, he is so hot, she's so hot, they need to have more than physical appearance. Like, okay, that's great, you're attracted to them. What else? Do they have a good heart? Are they honest? Do they have integrity? Are they kind? Are they compassionate? Because I promise you, when stuff hits the fan, and it will, it always does, it don't matter how cute they are, you're not going to be impressed by that.
Yeah.
You're going to be like, okay, what else? What else do you have? You got to have something else. You can't just be cute. Cute don't cut it. You got to have something other than cuteness. What else? Are you kind? Are you generous? Are you loving? What else? So I just want to encourage you, do not spend your life focusing on appearances, whether it be yours or other people's. Stop judging people for having tattoos. Stop judging people for being physically fit. Stop judging people for not being physically fit. Stop judging people for having teeth. Stop judging people for not having teeth. Like, get to know the person. Stop judging people for the color of their skin. This is what my skin looks like.
This is what my skin looks like.
And guess what our heart looks like? The same. We got to stop judging people. We got to stop having prejudice and looking at people and having our own ideas and be like, oh, they must do this. Get to know them. You have no idea. Unless you walk a mile in somebody else's shoes, you have no idea. You see a woman and she's got a whole bunch of kids and she's single. She must not be able to keep her legs closed. No, maybe she loves kids. Maybe she really loves children and maybe she wanted to have a bunch of kids. Oh, yep.
And she's probably a hardworking woman.
Living
too.
off the system. Look at her. No, maybe she's working several jobs. Maybe she has a husband that's at work right now.
Yeah.
Stop judging people. Stop it. You don't know. Go ask them. Go ask her. Hey, why do you have so many kids? Maybe you'll find a really awesome woman that loves children.
Yeah, when they
Maybe you won't. Who knows? But you don't ask. You don't know.
Let them tell their stories.
Yes. Yes.
Let them tell their story.
Do you want someone judging you? No. Then quit your judging. Stop judging people. Stop telling people what to do. Are you their mom? No.
Nope.
Are you God? No. So stop telling them what to do. Take your finger out.
Point to yourself.
What am I doing? Am I making good choices? Am I showing God's love?
That's
What
on
are you doing?
I got mine over here.
Focus on yourself.
Yep.
Do you like the way that you look?
Yes, I do.
Do you like the content of your character? Are you a good person? Are you kind? Are you generous?
I try to be.
Do you have integrity? Or do you do things when people aren't paying attention?
I just do what I need to do. And people can see from my actions what kind of person I am. I don't have to speak it. I just show it. And I don't care.
Speak it and show it. Speak it and show it.
And I don't do it where people are actually watching me. I don't pay.
Well, and that's another thing.
I don't pay attention.
If you are doing nice things just so people around you will see you doing nice things, you've already gotten your reward on earth and you will get nothing in heaven.
Right.
The Bible says, don't let your right hand know what your left hand is doing. So if you're going to bless someone, bless them in private.
Yep.
So your Lord can reward you in private. Because if you bless them in public, you already got your reward.
Yep, that was your reward.
You wanted to show off. You wanted that person to think that you're so wonderful.
Oh, look at her. She did that. Yeah, well.
That's not a genuine heart. If you're helping people only because of who's watching, you're not really helping them.
Get out of
you're helping yourself.
Or what you're going to get out of it.
Yeah, that's a business transaction.
Yeah. Well,
that's not generosity.
I'll help you do this, but
No, that's not kindness.
But I got to have this.
Yeah.
So right there is not helping somebody.
No.
Number one, because if you're going to help them, you're right there. I'm here to help you. There's nothing that I want for it. I just want to help you. I want to give you a hand.
If you do something and then you take a picture of it, and then you post it all over social media and brag. Like, I've seen this, and it's one of my biggest pet peeves. When somebody prays for someone, and while the other person that they're praying for has their eyes closed, they take a picture of it, and then they put it all on social media. Or, this is another thing that just grinds my gears. When somebody is helping somebody with food, like financially, like when they do food drives or something.
That gets me.
And then they're taking pictures of the people that they're helping.
Getting the food.
Like, that person does not deserve you blasting them all over social media. Look, they're needy. Oh, look, no. Let people have their dignity. Let people have their respect. No, don't you dare. But that is selfishness.
And there's a lot of that.
Yeah.
There is.
But that's appearance, right? I want to look a certain way. I'm going to get this fancy sports car so I can look a certain way. I want to get, my hair done so I look a certain way. I want to get my dress so I look a certain way. I want to get my nails.
I broke a nail.
I look a certain way. I want to be like this image. And even with social media, I struggle with this a lot. And that's looking a certain way on social media. And, people think different things based on my social media. And they're like, oh, she must have a lot of money because she's always going here and she's always doing that. And people don't take the time to ask me. I don't have a lot of money. If you are looking at my social media and you're like, oh, she's going here and she's going there, it's because I'm working. It's because I have 3 jobs. And so if I'm here, it's because I'm working. It's because I'm paying off bills. It's because I'm speaking or I'm teaching or I'm doing something. Or maybe it's just because I'm with my friends or I'm helping someone.
Yeah.
But don't assume and don't have, your preconceived notion that you know what I'm doing. No, you don't. You don't know what somebody's life looks like from the outside. You don't know what somebody's life looks like on a little screen, a little picture. You have no idea what their life actually is unless you're living it too, or you ask them.
Well, it's like with the social media and pictures that people post. There's so many people that can crop and shop this and cut this out and add this to it. You're not impressing anybody.
And that's a lot of what it is. It all stems from identity issues and insecurity. Judging other people stems from identity issues and insecurity, because if you were confident and secure in who you were, you would not waste your time ripping other people apart. You would not waste your time judging other people. If you were a confident and secure person, you would cheer for them, you would encourage them, you would say nice things to them. You'd be confident, you'd be secure. You would not be ripping them apart. Insecurity rips other people apart. Insecurity calls other people names. Insecurity tries to make others feel less than.
Well, I always try to build people up.
Because you're secure in who you are. You don't care what people think. You don't care what they think about your clothes. You don't care what they think about your hair or your nails.
Nothing.
You are secure in who God created you to be. You don't wear makeup. You wore it one time when I was in beauty school, and you let me do it, and then Daddy made me take it all off. You don't color your hair. You never have. You don't wear things that you're not comfortable in, because you're your own person. So many people are doing things because they want to impress other people, because they want somebody else's opinion, because they care about somebody else's opinion more than God's opinion. Number one, you should be living for God and God alone. That should be the only opinion you care about. Yes, you want to shine His light. Yes, you want to be a representation of God's love. But at no point should you care more about what other people think about you than what God thinks about you. And God calls you beloved. He calls you chosen. He says that you are enough, and you don't have to add or subtract anything to yourself to make you more valuable. You are already the most valuable thing, the most valuable person God has ever created. He loves you. So let's stop focusing on appearance and let's focus on the heart, because that's where the good stuff is. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay. We love you. We hope you enjoyed this. We know this was a long one. So if you hung with us, God bless you. That's awesome. If you need prayer or you need encouragement, send us a message. innerbeauty101@hotmail.com. You are loved. You are special, regardless if you don't have one tooth in your mouth, regardless if you are covered in tattoos. God loves you. We love you. You're a child of God. And so we hope we encouraged you.
Have a great day.
Yeah, we love you.
Love you. God bless.